Holy Gospel according to Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. The apostles gathered around Jesus and told him all they had done and taught. Jesus said to them, "Come away to a deserted place, all by yourselves, and rest a while." For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. And they went away in the boat to a deserted place by themselves. Now many saw them going and recognized them, and they hurried there on foot from all the towns and arrived ahead of them. As Jesus went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Please be seated. So we're going to hear from our panel of contestants very soon as we talk about our experience in Houston for the ELCA Youth Gathering with the theme, This Changes Everything. But before we do that, I just want to make a couple of comments on the readings because there's some pretty good readings here. So you have this really long passage from Ephesians, this whole second chapter, and there's really three things that I just want to lift up. The first is, you let the world tell you how to live. Isn't that the world that we live in? Constant messages coming at us all of the time, trying to get us to follow whatever it is that's blowing in the wind. And all of us are susceptible to that. I heard a great line a couple of weeks ago, and I just want to share it with you, is what news do you follow? Do you follow, and which do you follow more? Not just as a trajectory, but where you actually spend your time. Is it in the news of the world that tells you what to do, or is it in the news of God that shows you where to go and how to live? The second thing is that saving is all God's idea. We really don't believe this, and yet it is the truth of our faith. That's what grace is all about, is that it's not up to us. It's up to what God is doing in the world. And the way we know what God is doing in the world, first and foremost, is what Jesus has done for us in the cross. We don't deserve it. We can't get more of it. We can't hoard it over other people. It's just a gift that God gives to us out of love and mercy, and this thing that does change everything, which is grace. And it calls us to live in a whole new way. And that's the point. You know, one of our great Protestant contributions to the whole Christian church is reclaiming this in the conversation that was going on between faith and works. Because are we supposed to live as people of faith in the world too? Yeah. But we claim it as God's work. It's not the things that we do that matter. It's what God does. And God uses us to do it. We have this great saying in the ELCA, our kind of motto, which is God's work, our hands. So it's God's work that we're called to, but yet it's not about us. It's about what God is doing through us to share that love with others. And the third thing I want to just lift up is really this whole second half, because in the church at the time, and you may not recognize this in modern day society, but they were very deeply divided. Right. And what's the thing that brings us together? It's Jesus. If we're going to try to do it on our own, we're not going to get there. But it's the peace of Christ that passes understanding that comes and works through us. And if we can reclaim that and move forward with that as our trajectory, goal, and calling, that's where we find true unity in the work to which we're called. And then there's this short passage from Mark, which I think works very well with what we're about to do, because if you remember back a couple of weeks, Jesus sent out the disciples. He sent them out 2 by 2. He sent them out into the towns, and they were supposed to do some things. They were supposed to preach, and they were supposed to call out evil where they saw it, and they were supposed to pray and help people heal. And now we're back where they have gathered back together. And it's one of the most important things of our ministry that I think so often we overlook because we get caught up in the busyness of our own lives. And that is to actually pause and reflect on what we did, to actually process that together. Jesus finds a space for them to do that, even in the midst of all the busy things that they're doing and the people chasing them down, and even with Jesus having compassion on the crowd because they were like sheep without a shepherd. he still found that moment for those now called apostles to reflect on their experience and grow. So that's what we're going to do in the rest of our time here, is to share some of those experiences with you. And hopefully we can all claim this theme together that this changes everything. So I'm just going to start by telling you my own connection to this particular youth gathering, because it was about 2 or maybe 2.5 years ago that Pastor Tim Roser in the Synod office called me and said, would you be our gathering Synod coordinator? So for the last couple of years, I've been helping not just our congregation, but our churches throughout our New England Synod get ready for the youth gathering. The youth gathering brings together about 30,000 people. There were 31,000 people at this event. It's like constructing a small town for a week through email. So think of the logistics of that. And yet, the joy in the space and in the room and in people coming together is really, there's nothing quite like it. So let's just share some of our experiences as we go around the room. So something you should know, I'll just kind of tell you a little bit about the way it's organized, so when you hear from them, you will know what they're talking about. So it's a 5-day event, and what happens is, so the first day you get there's a half day because you come in the evening, and the last day is a half day because you leave after closing worship. So in the middle are 3 themed days. So one of those days is really focused around the work the church is doing. That's kind of an interactive day in a big, huge hall. One day is just with our Synod group, so all the churches from New England are together, and Bishop Hazelwood was with us. And the third day was a service project where we got to wear these nifty orange shirts. So you're going to hear about that, and then some of their other experiences. So why don't we just kind of go down the line, and you can share, first say who you are and what you're going to talk about, and then go for it.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Joseph Baldo, and I'm going to be talking about our Synod Day. Our Synod Day was right in the middle of our trip. It was on the Friday. We got there Wednesday through Sunday, and it was great because we got to sleep in, and we also got to know our neighboring churches. It was great because we got to go and welcome everybody, so we went 15 minutes early. We set up like a little line, so we had people on either side of the welcoming area, and we just gave everyone high fives. We also gave high fives to Jim Hazelwood, our bishop, so that was great. It was really cool to see Jim Bishop. I've never seen him really preach before in front of like a crowd of a bunch of Lutherans, but it was cool. He shared some stories that I don't think he's really shared with anyone really before, and it was really cool to get to know him on more of a personal level after knowing him for a couple years.
Great, thanks.
Hi, my name is Noel. I'm a senior, and I'm going to be talking about mass gathering. So basically, every night there was a mass gathering, which is when everyone, so all 30,000 people, would come together, and we basically have like a kind of a mini worship. There would be speakers. They would play This Is Everything 1,600 times. And then after pretty much every speaker, there would be kind of a moral or a lesson. And basically they went through some kind of experience in their life, and they don't, that was either bad or good, and they want people to kind of reflect on that. And I thought some of the messages were very empowering, very delivering, and there was some crazy dancers up there. I don't know who they were, but they were pretty cool. And I think that it was probably one of my favorite parts of the trip.
I'm Alina. I wrote something because I have to make sure I get everything. So our service day was Saturday. After we experienced the gathering for everything that it is, it brought the traditional aspect of a mission trip to the whole trip with projects that help in the community. It was the most labor I'd actually ever done in a mission trip. It was also the earliest day. We had to wake up at 6 to meet in the hotel lobby at 6:30 for the briefing of our project. The first thing I said was sunscreen was advised because yes, we would be working outside. And although we were not looking forward to spending the day in the heat, and the whole time we were there was super high humidity, we were so prepared to actually do something that felt like we were making a change in the Houston community. On the ride there, our site supervisor explained that we would be starting the process of making a dog park, walking trails, and bike trails in the middle of the community. We arrived and collected a wheelbarrow with various tools, which included a weed whacker, and set out to do our work. We cleared so much. We cleared bushes, trees, grass, trash, and even a door. Joe even tried to salvage his shopping cart. A neighbor, Teresa, came through the fence to see what was going on. She ended up really helping us after we explained what we were doing. She provided so much extra tools and a positive attitude that showed how grateful all these people would really be for what we were starting. We were assigned to random groups, but a lot of us were together, like basically our whole thing except Noel and Tammy and Jeff. But we did meet some people. We met a group from Arizona and learned how different life there is, specifically the wildlife. And we also met a woman from Connecticut that saved people in the Boston Marathon bombing while she was on a date, which is really cool. She was probably one of the nicest people that I met there. And even though our service day was hard work, the connections we made and how thankful these people were for our work made it incredibly clear how much a little bit of sweat meant.
Hi, I'm Riley, and I'm going to be talking about Interactive Day, which was the first structured day we had at the gathering, and I think it really started off our experience with a high note. Walking in and seeing how many stations or booths there were made all of us really excited to explore them. The booths themselves were meaningful, inspirational, and most importantly, truthful, and there were so many topics that they covered. There were human trafficking booths for LGBT inclusion, ones about poverty, world hunger, water, and the ELCA itself. I learned so much about our church and its beliefs, and it made me really happy to be a part of something so inclusive and aware of the world's problems. Also, at the booths there were a bunch of souvenirs you could bring home, like pins, which I know a few of us really liked. I'll remember that day for how it brought important issues to my attention and the conversations I had with such amazing leaders. Like, I talked to a leader of a church in a prison, and she shared how their church in the prison was really changing the inmates' lives, and when something bad would happen in the prison, all the inmates would surround her in a circle and be like, "We'll protect you," and that really inspired me.
Hi, I'm Jill from Trinity Lutheran, and I'll be talking about what I expected and what I experienced. So going to Houston, I really had no idea what to expect. As I first stepped off of the plane and into the weather that felt like 105 degrees, I remember thinking, what am I doing here? I knew that we had 3 full days, an interactive day, a synod day, and a service day, but I had no idea what we would be doing and what the schedule would be like. I knew that there was going to be roughly 30,000 people, but I really did not know how many people that is until we stood in line in the humidity for 2 hours to get into the energy stadium for our first gathering. I didn't expect to be as influenced and moved by the messages like the speakers provided. I also did not expect to be in such a nice hotel in a very nice part of Houston, which I'm very grateful for. Finally, I did not expect to have as much fun as I did. Although we did do a lot of hard work, like what Elena talked about, we were given time to swim in the hotel pool and even go to a baseball game and see what Texas is like. Overall, I was pleasantly surprised with how much fun and inspirational the trip turned out to be.
Hi, I'm Lee, and I'm going to talk about how I see the church differently now. So I was born Lutheran, so by that I mean that I was born into a family that's Lutheran, so every Sunday I would come here. I grew up going to Sunday school, VBS, I was confirmed, and my first communion, the whole 9 yards. But as I've gotten older, I've tried to really discover what it means to me to be a Lutheran, and really where I belong in the church. And part of that was going to a Catholic high school, where I constantly kind of had to explain my faith and what being Lutheran means. But honestly, I'm still growing up, so I don't really know exactly what that means. But going to Houston was a big experience for me, and it was really great to see so many people there. And also kind of what the Lutheran Church's stance on so many issues is, especially social justice issues.
So I reached out to Katrina Schleselman and said, have you talked to Rachel at all? And she just this morning texted, she had a great time. She felt that she could really feel the impact made through the service projects, and that it was so cool to see so many other Lutherans from different places. So that's our little bit from Rachel. So to close off, I would just like to say, I mean, I don't know if you can get it from listening to what these kids just said, but this is a fantastic group of kids we have. And they really represented when we were in Houston. I will say, like, we were a little timid the first night. We are not Midwesterners, I mean, we are, but it was clear, they aren't like crazy jumping around, you know, we were never up on the stage dancing. But by the second day, I feel like we kind of opened up a little bit and opened our hearts and things like that. So, but yeah, so you should all be very proud because, you know, all of these kids have been, as well as Jill at Trinity. So Jill's from Trinity Lutheran Centerbrook, and we also had Ruth and David from Bethesda Lutheran, who will actually, that's where some of us are going later today to spend the week. We're going to stay at their church for our mission trip. But they joined us as well with Ruth's mom, and I really think we were the best group there. So, yeah, we had good energy, and I would just like to say that I am so grateful for the way that you've all raised these kids, and the kind of neat thing that happens on these trips is you may not think that they know who you are, but little things like, oh, Marsha, oh, which one is she? Oh, the cute pixie cut with the glasses sits here. Oh, yeah, I know her, you know, and so you'd be surprised how often many of your names came up and the interesting ways that we would describe who you are. So, so I found that really neat. So, and also I would like to say, I want to come up the back.
Oh, quiet.
So, little technical fail this morning, but there were going to be pictures, you know, streaming behind us. So instead, Jeff, brilliant that is, decided to have them going in the back fellowship hall and move coffee and snacks back there. So if you want to see us, not just in our orange shirts, there's some really neat pictures back there.
I just want to say two last things. One is thank you. So thank you for your support and prayers, and also financial contributions that helped us go. So that really was really beneficial, including our Fund for Mission, which helped provide our area. So thank you very much for that. And I also want to just share one, I think what was my greatest moment of the whole time, when you really feel like you're part of something, is the theme of the night was hope. And if you've ever been in a stadium when people do the wave, except we did it with the lights on our phones, and it went all around the room, and I don't think, was there a dry eye in the group at that point? It was just really cool. It was like, okay, we're part of this movement in the world to bring God's love and grace out, that really it's not our doing, it's what God does for us, and somehow we've gotten wrapped up in it and embraced in it and get to share it with others. And what a powerful thing that can be for those who are around us. So thank you very much, and this changes everything. Amen.